Dr. Malloy.
Here.
Thank you. Before we start, I just want to make a little announcement here. I work in the dairy industry, and we get a flyer from the American dairy industry every once in a while. And when we opened it up a couple days ago, we were shocked to see Altoona School District was recognized in this brochure. And it has to do with the USD when they allowed school districts to offer milk to students in larger containers than the 8-ounce containers. You were allowed to have a quart or a gallon because students were getting multiple meals to take home with them. And they're saying one example of this program working is the Altoona School District in Blair County served an additional 13,513 pounds of milk from September to October of 2020 versus the year before. So our students are getting some good nutrition. And I passed this along to Paula, and then she pointed out to me that it also talks about the Adopt a Cow program, how it can teach students how dairy farms work, from calves to cows to milking. And we have a teacher at McAuliffe Heights, Mrs. Jamie Hilliard, who is involved in that. And she works with her students in that program. And I just think it's wonderful. And I had to give a shout out. Congratulations to Altoona. You're helping our students. Thank you. Okay, we have one issue tonight that we're going to vote on, and it's whether to return our students to full-time classroom learning on 3/15/2021. And I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Priatel for the details.
First of all, it's full face-to-face for all the students that are hybrid. We will still have the virtual option, and we will still have the cyber option. So they can do the asynchronous cyber, they can do the synchronous virtual. But for all parents and all students who want to attend 5 days a week, we will be basically, there'll be no more AB. It'll be 5 days a week starting on March 15th. Couple of things, just so everybody knows, we are in the process of working with the IU. We will get 458 teachers, staff, support staff, contracted professionals vaccinated next week. It will probably be one day next week. We do not know the day yet. Because of the number, we will probably have a virtual day that day to ensure that we can have continuity of education for our students. But we won't know that day until they tell us, and they're not going to tell us any earlier than Monday. It could be Wednesday, it could be Thursday, it could be Friday. We just don't know yet. Also, I want to say thank you to Bill Thompson of Thompson's Pharmacy, Bill Thompson of Thompson Pharmacy, Tyrone Hospital in Penn Highlands, and also Value Drug have been taking care of our 1As. Our 1A population is down now. It went from 330. It's now down to, it will, as of close of school tomorrow, it'll be 40. And probably when we're done with next week's vaccinations, it'll be 20, because those 1As will be mixed in with the 1Bs. They're just the regular teachers and support staff. And our whole population number for vaccinations, we should be somewhere, when it's all said and done, around 100 teachers, faculty, staff left to be who want to be vaccinated as of the end of next week. And every faculty, staff, support staff, custodian, bus driver, contracted worker who wants to be vaccinated, if they're not done by the end of next week, they will be done by the end of the month. So that's just great news from the state.
Clarification on that. Is that the first vaccination or the second?
It's the Johnson & Johnson. It will be the one vaccination.
Okay, thank you.
I don't know whether the state's going to allow us to move anyone into 1A, but we are having discussions as to whether whether the Moderna and the Pfizer will be available to the people who object to the Johnson
Right,
Johnson.
and I agree. They morally object to it, and I agree with them that they should have another option.
Yeah, well, we don't have all the details on that, but we are working on it. And the other thing is the vaccines are starting to become more readily available, period. So hopefully we're going to be in better shape here in the next 2-3 weeks. Welcome.
Okay, can we have a motion and a second?
Wait a second, public comment.
Oh, we do have public comment? Well, we normally do that when we are going to discuss it.
Do the motion in a second.
Okay, can we have a motion and a second on the motion before us? All in favor?
No, you can't do that yet. Now you have to public comment.
Okay, I'm sorry. All right. If anyone would like to speak, if they would step up to the microphone and state your name and where you're from, and you have 5 minutes.
Hi, I'm Tara Steinbugle from Altoona. I have 2 daughters that are seniors here at the high school. And I just have one quick comment. My daughter is both of them are in the B hybrid schedule. So they had their first day back to school last week because of snow days. And my one daughter came home and she said that she learned more in that one day in person than she has all year. So I really urge you, please vote to bring them back 5 days. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Brenda Anderson. I'm from right here in Altoona. I have 2 children in Penn Lincoln, a 2nd and a 4th grader. My 4th grader does have an IEP. Today, for instance, he was supposed to be on at 10:15 a.m. with a teacher. The teacher was not there. 11:55, again, same issue. He is not learning. He needs to be in school. And they don't even enjoy being at home anymore because it's a struggle to get them to do these videos. Please let them come back.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, now we'll move on to the issue at hand. We have a motion and a second.
Well, before we vote, can we talk about this?
Certainly.
All right, I've got a couple questions. First and foremost, my question is this. When the kids come back, and I just want you to specify this, Dr. P, are we going to be following all guidelines, including mask wearing, social distancing, hand washing, and so forth? Could you lay that out for us, please?
We will be, obviously, we're going to continue the mask regulations. Obviously, we're doing the hand washing and the sanitization. We will do our best to ensure the social distancing. In some situations, we will not be able to guarantee or ensure 6 foot of social distance, but at the same time, the CDC has lowered some of the regulations and expectations for that. And we feel that we will be able to handle it appropriately as we move forward.
What is that lowered expectation?
It depends on the size of the building, the size of the classrooms. Instead of being 6 feet, we may be 5. But there also may be some situations where kids are tighter for short periods of time, but it's not going to be a situation where they're not masked, and it's not going to. It will be controlled as best as possible, and we should be all right.
Are we going to have our SCA situation straightened out by the time we come back face to face?
Say that again?
Our SEA problem, are we going to have that rectified before we come back to school?
we continually will be working to develop our SEA pool. We feel we have enough to do what we need to do now, but obviously we have spots to fill. So we can make it work now, but it will be better once we go through at least one or two more hiring events.
And could we also please, were anyone coming in our school buildings is going to be required to wear a mask, correct?
Absolutely.
Any other discussion?
Yes, I'm all for kids coming back. This whole thing, it's been a year, it's old. We're really close. I got a couple questions here. Can we social distance at the high school and middle school if all the kids are back? It's going to be tight, 5 feet.
As I said, Brad, you want to go further with that?
There'll be times during class transitions, cafeteria, that will not have 6 feet of social distancing. However, we've marked off cafeteria seats and tables as to where students are permitted to sit to ensure distancing in an unmasked time frame. During class changes, we've staggered class changes so that we are staggering the numbers of kids that are in the hallway at any given time. We're also limiting the number of times that students can go to their lockers throughout the school day so that you don't get that clustering in the hallways during high traffic times. So all of those measures, in addition to spreading out cafeteria times, whereas we would normally have 3 to 6 lunches, we now have 4 to 8 lunches. We'll be utilizing multiple spaces in the cafeteria. One of our gymnasiums will be allocated as an overflow cafeteria in addition to the fieldhouse lobby and open and closed cafeteria. So spreading kids out, giving them the opportunity to eat unmasked, but then also be appropriately distanced from one another. All of those will be monitored on a regular basis by our teachers. Class changes, administrators will be present during all lunches. So we will make every effort possible. Our sheer numbers alone, if you look at square footage and number of bodies, the math doesn't work to where you can say every kid's going to be guaranteed to have 6 feet at all times, but we will make every effort to do so while also taking advantage of opportunities for masking break for students. Although we are requiring masks at all times, we still are permitted to take masking breaks when social distancing can be achieved at 10 minutes at a period. So, we want kids to be comfortable. We're making sure that we have increased maximum airflow exchange in all of our classrooms. I know Doug's worked with our maintenance department to make sure that airflow is a priority, that we have fresh air return in all of our classrooms and all of our buildings. And when the weather's nice enough, even though we discourage it normally, we will be opening windows to allow more fresh air in on a consistent basis. And then when we can, we're going to get kids outside to where they are, they're out in an open environment, whether it be for physical education and elementary for recess or for class time. I mean, you can do some learning walks and different things of that nature that we can take advantage of the spacious area that we have around here.
Also,
we provide masks. We actually have a huge surplus
We
of
have
masks.
thousands.
We have more masks than you could possibly want. We offer them as they enter the building. So the other thing we're doing is we're avoiding large group settings. When kids come into the building, they're not going to a housed area where they're waiting for a dismissal time to their homeroom. When they come in, they're able to pick up their breakfast, go directly to their classroom. They get their temperature check in their classroom, and they're able to go to their locker and be spaced out throughout. We've modified cafeteria so that there are some limited options. However, we are not having kids standing in line on top of each other in our food court areas. They are able to go quickly and do a grab and go at our stations. Now we'll see how it works when we double our capacity on the 15th. Obviously, you're going to have double the number of kids, theoretically, on each of those days. But we're very confident that we're able to provide a safe environment for all of our kids and staff.
Just so everyone understands with masks, we had a donation of 7,000 masks that are similar. They're green with stripes and they're gray with stripes, but they're similar to the type of mask that Eric has on. They're not just the paper, the paper kind you get out of the box. Literally, we have more than enough masks.
Brent, I had 4 questions. You basically answered them all. Folks, we're close. We're close. It's been a year. We're just gonna do it safely. We gotta enforce the mask. We gotta enforce the social distancing. What burns me up is if you go somewhere and someone, they have a mask hanging over their ear or not down, it's like, we gotta play the game. I've been missing sporting events. I'm a big sport guy. It's just, we're so close. Let's do this right. And it seems like we're all working together and we all want the same thing.
Absolutely.
And I can
right.
tell you, in the time that we have had kids in school, I do not recall one instance where a simple redirection with a student has not solved the masking issue. We have not had a blatant, we have 7,500 kids. We've not had a blatant refusal. I'm not doing this. Call my parent. Like, we've not had that. We expected it, to be honest with you. We expected to have some compliance issues, but it really has not been a problem. Everyone has some mask fatigue, I think, at this point, but they've also grown accustomed and understand the importance of it. And I think everybody's embraced that, masking not only protects me, but it protects others. And if that's what it takes to get what we want, which is reduce COVID numbers and kids back in school, everyone will do their part to make that happen.
And I would like to point out, and I am very, very, very glad to see on the screen, everybody is wearing a mask and social distancing. It took us quite a while to get here, but I want to thank the board. I want to thank the people in the room. Thank you for doing the right thing. It took a while, but we got there, and I'm glad to see it.
Yeah, I too am glad that we're looking at bringing children back to full face-to-face instruction. However, with this, I think we should ask Dr. Prietel to point out we still are under state guidelines with the attestation that had to be signed. So there still could be some disruption. Is that right, Dr. Prietel?
Yes, but because we're being very diligent with the masking and we're handling the social distancing, usually the issues we're having are having a minimal impact on students. And we did have a situation where we sent a kindergarten class home, but that was a situation where we had a child who had medical issues who couldn't mask, and we couldn't risk the fact that they didn't infect more children in the class. But for the most part, it's been limited to small pockets of students in close contacts. We haven't had to do full class quarantines or anything like that. It's been the teachers and the students and their parents have been very supportive to make it work.
And that's what we're going to need to ask people as we move forward, to just work with us and let's make this work the best we can.
Absolutely.
The other thing I just want to point out, we'll be sending information out to students and to families over the next couple of days. We do recognize that it's been tough. It's been tough for kids, and academically, kids may feel a little helpless at this point, but I want to reassure parents and families, the best thing right now is to get your kids back in school, regardless of how they performed in the first 2 marking periods. It is not too late to recover if your grades are suffering a little bit. We're going to have additional programs in place, additional supports in place, and we want to make sure that every student and family knows that you will have an opportunity to realize success if you come back, or even if you stay in a virtual environment, whatever it may be. But the year is not lost, and please don't treat it as such. We have, obviously a marking period and a half remaining. Every student will have every opportunity to experience success and pass this school year and pass their courses. We will ensure you of that. We have mental health provisions and some other things in place, additional programming and additional academic support for all of our students. So please take advantage of that. Let us know what your needs are, and I can assure you that we will work with you to help get your children back on track if they've fallen off a little bit. Thank you.
I am for bringing the students back. I think it's past time that we get these children back in the classroom. That's where they need to be. And I fully support bringing them back. Okay, any other comments? Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Bream,
Yes.
Mr. Francis, Mr. Huff, Mr. Hoover,
Yes.
Mrs. Irwin Adams,
Please, yes.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
Mr. Cruz,
Yes.
Dr. Malloy.
Yes.
9-0, motion passes. Students will be back in class full-time on March the 15th.
Can I ask one more question?
Certainly.
We have a change order that came to me and I sent it out to the board today. It'll obviously be on the agenda for next week. I would like a verbal that we can move forward on that so we can have some continuity to put that, to finish that sidewalk up on 14th Avenue. It's a 14th Street, sorry, 14th Street. Basically, there are sections of the sidewalk that were not to be replaced in the construction project. And quite frankly, they're deteriorating and we want to have a nice smooth finish and have the whole job done correctly. And then to do that, we need to move forward because they're ready to replace all the other parts of the sidewalk and it would make sense just to do it all at one time.
What I can't understand is why wasn't that in the original bid? You're running heavy equipment on that sidewalk, right?
I have no idea why it wasn't in the original contract.
And it should not, this is a big project. Who's gonna look for a sidewalk in all honesty? But somebody, our staff, somebody should have, this shouldn't happen. We shouldn't have to pay this much. And I blame the architect. This guy's been getting away with murder, I think. And I think we got to come after him. I wish Carl was here because there's too many change orders, too many things that were missed. And maybe I'm wrong.Maybe that we got to do something. We got to recoup some of this money we're losing.
I like to have this architect on a Zoom, some meeting or in person so we could talk to him personally eye to eye about some of these issues. Now, this sidewalk that needs done, is it going to be in sections? Would you know, or is it's not going to be?
It's the standard grid for a sidewalk, your 3x3 or 4x4 grid.
Okay, it's not going to be 17.
No, it's none of that.
Is it a safety issue or is it a cosmetic issue? So you said deteriorating. Is it look bad or is it crumbling?
It has cracks and it's going to need replaced.
So everything around it would be new, but that section was not included.
Those two sections are not included, no.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Dave. This architect should eat some of these up.
I agree we should do it, but someone should be held accountable. That's all.
Well, and the other situation might have been I don't know if the person who did the project consultation Reynolds, if they did any value engineering before the project started and might have been able to pick that up had they done it, or maybe they overlooked it. But yeah, it should have been picked up. Fact is, it wasn't. So now we're stuck with a big bill.
Frank, we were involved with several building projects and never do I remember a sidewalk issue. Do you remember?
I can't remember sidewalk issues. And a lot of it as the project is being designed. I know in the past we had people, the project managers who would do value engineering to look over things and even make sure that things like that weren't forgotten. But, the thing is, it's the building's here and it's too late to go there. It's just that I guess lesson learned is the architect, somebody messed up is the bottom line. And now we as a school district have to eat a close to $20,000 bill. We would have had to pay it perhaps, but maybe had it been part of the design, you wouldn't have a meeting here to discuss a change order.
I understand that totally. We have to solve it, obviously. So
would we be able to hold back payment for architect overlook?
we are holding us a portion till this is all settled and done.
So you need to straw poll.
I just want to do a real quick straw poll. I know we're Kelly. Okay. Ron, Eric, Mike, Frank,
Yes.
Rick,
Yep.
Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, Kelly. Okay, I appreciate that. We can move forward in a timely fashion. Thank you, Sharon.
You're
That's
welcome.
all I have.
Anyone else?
Before we end, listen, everyone knows this has been a ridiculous year, a ridiculous year. We've come through, we're not through it yet, but a worldwide pandemic. We've lost 530 some thousand fellow Americans. My wife lost somebody in her family to this. Everybody has done their level best to try and make this situation doable. I think we've done a good job at that. I think our employees should be seen as heroes. The amount of work they have put in, even during this AB schedule and going full hybrid, this is unbelievable what's been done in the past year. Hopefully, nothing like this ever comes up again. But I know that we may not have made many friends with the decisions we've made, but we've made the decisions in the best interest of the school district, the students, the parents, and every employee of the district. And I'm very proud I'm a member of this board, and everyone voted their conscience, and I'm glad for it.
Anyone else? Meeting adjourned.